Hello, dear viewers. Trump has announced that he will withdraw troops from Iran. In my words, this is the launch of a troop withdrawal campaign, because in the remaining 2 or 3 weeks of the withdrawal, the Trump administration will take a number of actions. Today, I will give you a comprehensive report on this. What exactly is a troop withdrawal campaign? What actions does it involve, and what results will it bring? That's the first topic. The second topic I want to bring you is about domestic politics in the United States. Attorney General Barr has stepped down. This was the most shocking news yesterday. In addition, the Chief of Staff of the U.S. Army has also stepped down. So what do all these things mean behind the scenes? That's another topic I want to bring to you today. Besides that, there are also some other aspects to discuss. Yesterday, we also talked about Vance leading the charge as the U.S. launches its anti-fraud campaign. This is happening domestically in the United States, focusing on anti-fraud investigations in Minnesota and California. Yesterday, there was a major raid and search operation at an airport in California. So what exactly is going on? All right, welcome to Good Morning America, brought to you by Fang Wen. Good morning to all our YouTube viewers and to the listeners of Sound of Hope, Silicon Valley FM 96.1. First, let's talk about the situation in the Middle East about 22 hours ago. U.S. President Trump on his social media, his first post on Truth Social, shared a screenshot from a video. It shows a highway bridge connecting Tehran and the western city of Karaj being blown up. As you can see, the bridge has been destroyed, completely broken, totally severed. So Trump posted a tweet saying that Iran's largest bridge has collapsed with a bang and can no longer be used. He added that more bridges will collapse in the future and that Iran must reach an agreement as soon as possible or it will be too late. Otherwise, this country, which once had the potential to become a great nation, will cease to exist. So, as of now, it hasn't been publicly disclosed which bridge the U.S. military actually blew up. The name hasn't been announced. Obviously, this is for military reasons. So the question is, what will happen next? About 12 hours ago, Trump tweeted again, saying that our military is the greatest and most powerful in the world. And so far, it hasn't even started to destroy the remaining targets in Iran. Next would be the bridges and then the power plants. The leaders of the new regime are very clear about what needs to be done, and you have to act quickly. What does that mean? This is what I summarized for Trump, calling it his withdrawal campaign. As everyone knows, those who are capable of fighting wars after announcing a withdrawal never pull out immediately. What if you get caught by the enemy at the end of the retreat? Withdrawals always require first securing an advantageous exit position. So the first thing to do is to increase troop numbers. Indeed, in addition to sending more army troops to the Middle East, the U.S. also deployed 3 aircraft carrier strike groups, which arrived one after another. So before withdrawing, you need to display strength and then gradually pull out the troops. For Trump, it's very likely that before withdrawing troops, he might even launch an attack. These are all possibilities. Okay, so that's one aspect. On the other hand, there's also the intensification of airstrikes against Iran. Just now, there was news that a senior commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps named Fatah, his full name is Fatah Rizada, and he holds the rank of brigadier general, was killed in the bombing by Israel and the United States. So, what is this Fatah unit? It is a special forces unit of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. So the commander or leader of the special forces was killed in an airstrike. In addition, several of Iran's steel plants have been hit by airstrikes, including the largest ones, the Khuzestan Steel Company and the Isfahan Steel Company. They were all bombed to the point where production is impossible. The entire steel industry has suffered a severe blow, possibly even losing 70% of its production capacity. Many workers have gone home because repairs can't be made. In addition, many bridges have obviously been bombed and destroyed. The first bridge that was just bombed is an example, because as you can see from Trump's approach, he bombs one bridge, then tells you to see how things go. Do you want to sign an agreement or not? If you don't sign, I'll keep bombing more. That's how he conducts his withdrawal campaign, fighting on one hand while on the other hand trying to reach an agreement, bargaining at the same time. If multiple bridges are blown up, will Trump bomb the power plants next? From the current situation, I think he will bomb the power plants. And then will he go further and bomb Iran's oil fields? I think that's also possible. Because there are 2 ways for Iran to revive its economy. One is to extract and sell the oil from the ground, right? The second is steel. These are its 2 biggest export products. So what happens after these 2 are blown up? Then Iran will have no way to revive its economy. Once the economy is crippled, there's no way to recover. That's the first point. The second point is that the basic foundation for economic operation is electricity and transportation, isn't it? So if Trump attacks Iran's power plants and also targets its bridges, that would take out both electricity and transportation. Therefore, for the Iranian regime now, you could say that it has already survived because Trump has already said he wants to withdraw. So when you know that you can already survive, do you want to make a choice? That's what Trump means. First, on one hand, it's about steel, electricity, bridges, and oil. Are you willing to give up these things? On the other hand, it's about opening up the strait. So how would you choose? If the Iranian regime chooses to open up the strait, then the US military can basically declare a triumphant return, singing songs of victory as they head home. But if they don't open it, then it really shows that this is a very tough, still so-called evil regime. So in that case, Trump would want to bomb Iran back to where it was 20 or 30 years ago, making sure it can't recover for another 20 or 30 years. That's basically the situation. In addition, what else can Trump say? He could say, as he just tweeted this morning, give us a little more time, and we can easily open up the Strait of Hormuz, take control of the oil, and make a huge profit. For the whole world, this would be an oil gusher of immense wealth. What does that mean? What does this mean? What do you think it means? What does everyone think it means? To be honest, I don't know either. I really don't know. Looking at this, what exactly does he want to do? Does he want to take over the Strait of Hormuz, like seize the 4 islands that control the Strait of Hormuz? Or does he want to take Kog Island? I really can't guess right now. We'll just have to wait and see. In any case, Trump is full of surprises every day. He really is absolutely not a traditional, conventional figure. So the gushing wealth from oil, what does that mean? I don't know yet. Okay, next there's a piece of news. Iran's official media, called Tasnim News Agency, reported that Iran's missiles shot down a US F-35 stealth fighter jet. They even released photos of the wreckage and claimed to have captured the American pilot. Of course, now, when experts went to inspect the wreckage of the plane that Iran claimed to have shot down, it was clearly not an F-35. It was most likely an F-105E fighter jet. If the crew members were indeed captured, they would be the first batch of American prisoners of war in this conflict. The F-105E is a 2-seater fighter jet with a pilot in the front seat and a weapons officer in the back. The front seat is for flying, and the back seat is for operating the guns and cannons. That's the situation. The F-35 only has 1 seat, just 1 pilot, so that's how it is. However, Iran's national television is now offering a reward for capturing any American pilots who parachuted out, saying that anyone who captures an American pilot will receive a generous reward. All right, so right now, the Basiji militia and local paramilitary organizations are actively searching for the crew members of the downed American F-15, known as the Strike Eagle fighter jet. As you can see in the image on the right, it shows the location where the aircraft crashed. So now it is said, and actually, multiple videos have confirmed, that American UH-60 Black Hawk helicopters are conducting search and rescue operations. As for the Iranian forces, the Iranian search and rescue teams are also trying to recover the crew, so both sides are essentially racing to find them. The Iranian forces have reportedly attempted to open fire on the rescue team's Black Hawk helicopters using light weapons. At the same time, American air forces are actively striking the Iranian units that are participating in the search and also looking for the American pilots. So both sides are searching for people, and at the same time, both sides are attacking each other's search teams. It's basically a chain of battles like this. So is this really true? There hasn't been any latest update from the American side yet. Let me check if there is any, because what I bring you every morning are the latest updates. Let me see if there's any new information. Right now, the American side still hasn't said anything, really, nothing at all. So everything I'm saying is, how should I put it, just rumors circulating out there. We really don't know if that's actually the case. Okay, but if it is true, then it shows that even though the US claims to have complete air superiority, it seems that Iran still has some air defense and counterattack capabilities. This will make the decisions going forward even more difficult. But anyway, as I mentioned to everyone a couple of days ago, the missile base in Isfahan was hit by the US military. A 2,000-pound bunker buster bomb was dropped, and then it exploded for more than 8 hours. The explosions kept going on for 8 hours without stopping. So you can imagine just how much ammunition was stockpiled in the missile base beneath Isfahan. 8 hours of explosions, and it still didn't stop. Of course, all of this will inevitably weaken Iran's strike capabilities. All right, let's keep watching. In short, the Middle East is like a Hollywood movie every single day. Actually, it's even more so. It's even more dramatic, with so much theatricality that you really never know what will happen each day. Stay tuned to our channel for the latest and fastest news, as well as in-depth analysis behind the headlines, all right? Now let's talk a bit about the situation in the United States. The Attorney General, Mr. Garland, the Chief of Staff, the Army Chief of Staff, General Garland, what's going on here? Before we get into that, let me remind everyone once again to check out and support the sponsors of our program. After all, our ability to influence the world is quite limited. We can know a lot, but our influence is limited. However, when it comes to our own health, that's something we can fully take charge of, right? After discussing such major events, we should also talk about things that everyone can actually do for themselves. Lately, many friends have messaged me privately saying that following too much news can sometimes be quite stressful. If you can't sleep well, or as you get older your body is more prone to issues, then this is a good opportunity to once again recommend to everyone the Red Sea Cucumber Health Supplement capsules that I personally take. You might think I'm trying to sell something, but actually, let's listen to what this product is really like. Let's hear the story of a fan from Texas. This fan from Texas is a 63-year-old woman. She has meniscus strain and knee cartilage damage, which has led to chronic fluid buildup and long-term pain in her knees. She has seen both traditional Chinese medicine and Western doctors, but the answer was the same. There's no way to cure it, and she could only rely on painkillers to get by. So, with a might as well give it a try attitude, she bought the Red Sea Cucumber Health Supplement capsules. She took them pretty casually, just remembering to take them whenever she thought of it, not on any strict schedule. But even so, after just 1 month, her knee pain was gone. He himself said it was just amazing. Later, when he had a toothache, this time he started taking it seriously, taking 1 small packet in the morning and 1 at night. The toothache also gradually went away. Let me add something, I just can't help but say this. The Red Sea Cucumber Health Gel is just like eating a snack. It's really tasty, and it's truly not a medicine. It's actually a nutritional food supplement. Later on, this viewer of ours went ahead and bought more to give to his employees and to his family back in China, saying that he had tried it out for everyone first, so they could use it with confidence. Of course, let me add one more thing. Personal experiences like this can vary from person to person. This product is a nutritional supplement, not a medicine or a pharmaceutical drug. So why are the effects so noticeable? That has to do with its production process and its source. The ingredients and the process come from wild, deep-sea Red Sea cucumbers found off Jeju Island in South Korea. The issue is that if you cook it at high temperatures, the nutrients will be lost. Honestly, when you buy Red Sea cucumber, you definitely have to cook it. How else would you eat it if you don't cook it? When you cook it at home, the nutrients are lost due to the heat. But as for the Red Sea Cucumber Health Gel, it uses a low-temperature extraction process. This method allows for a complete extraction without destroying its core nutrients, such as saponins and collagen. As a result, the absorption rate is greatly improved. It's completely different from eating Red Sea cucumber as food, boiling it, and eating it. So naturally, the effects are not the same. That's why the results are so good. So, for those viewers who haven't tried it yet, I recommend you give it a try, okay? If you enter the exclusive promo code, you'll get a 15% discount. If you've already made a purchase, I suggest you try the monthly subscription plan. Starting from the second month, you can enjoy a 20% discount. If you sign up before April 12th, there are also free gifts. If you click below the screen, you can see all kinds of gifts available. So seize this opportunity and don't miss out. I really recommend that everyone give it a try. Who knows, it might actually help you. Okay, now let's move on. Today, I'll analyze yesterday's big news. The Minister of Justice has been replaced and the Chief of Staff has also been changed. What's going on? All right, let's talk about this first. Yesterday, President Trump announced that Attorney General Bondi is stepping down and moving to the private sector. That's what he said. In his tweet, he said that Bondi is a great American patriot. He is also a loyal friend. Over the past year, he has faithfully served as my Attorney General and performed outstandingly, making great efforts to combat crime nationwide with remarkable results. The murder rate has dropped to its lowest level since 1900. We love Pam very much. He will be moving to the private sector to take on a very important and much-needed new position. The specific details will be announced in the near future. Our Deputy Attorney General, his name is Blanche. Blanche is a highly talented and well-respected legal expert, and he will be taking over as the acting Attorney General. Bondi then responded and started posting his tweets. He said that over the next month, he will devote himself fully to ensuring a smooth handover of the Attorney General's office to the outstanding Blanche. After that, he plans to move on to an important private sector job that excites him. He will continue to fight for President Trump and the current administration. He stated that leading the Department of Justice has been the honor of his life, so as you can see, they are parting on good terms. So why is he resigning? Well, since Trump hasn't made it public, in fact, he already told Bondi on Wednesday that he wouldn't be doing it anymore, that he was done. But it was only announced on Thursday, so it really is an amicable parting. Now, based on information from various sources, there are 4 possible reasons. Can you guess which one it might be? Is it that the Trump administration was dissatisfied with how Bondi handled the Justice Department's files related to Epstein? Is this possible? This is definitely possible because, as you may recall, when Bondi got the Epstein files, he made a big show of saying that they would be released immediately, that everything would be made public. He even invited a bunch of internet celebrities to the Justice Department. He gave them a hefty stack of files to take away, and this was just the first batch. There would be a second and third batch to follow. The internet celebrities, they were really excited when they came, taking away that thick stack of documents, but then something happened. Why? Because there was no second or third batch. Afterwards, they just said there was nothing more to release, which was contradictory to what they said before. That's one thing. The second thing is about influencer training. When people went through the files, it turned out everything had already been made public before. So, in this regard, it seemed like they overpromised and then didn't deliver. This was a public relations issue. But even so, I don't think it was enough for Trump to replace him. Trump was definitely unhappy at the time. He didn't say anything, but it was clear he wasn't pleased. Now, the second thing is, in February this year, when he testified before the House Judiciary Committee, his performance also drew some criticism within the White House. Others pressed him about the Department of Justice, mainly regarding the Epstein case, but he kind of dodged the question and shifted the topic instead of addressing it directly. So I guess this is also a kind of PR skill in handling such situations. Call it proficiency or maturity. Third, and more importantly, regarding investigations into the previous administration and weaponizing justice, he's criticized for lacking resolve against Trump. Trump has indeed repeatedly said this, saying that all the things they did had no consequences, that our Department of Justice took no action. As everyone knows, US presidents rarely or almost never call the Attorney General to the White House to tell them, you need to do this or that. Because the judiciary has a certain degree of independence. Although the Attorney General is subordinate to the President of the United States does not easily summon the Attorney General to tell them to handle this or that. It depends on the Attorney General to take the initiative. How should I put it? They have to do it themselves. But if what you do doesn't align with the President, it's very likely the President will replace you. That's another matter. So everyone acknowledges that the Attorney General does have independence. At the same time, you still have a boss, right? That's just how things are handled. Trump is very public. He always gives public reminders, but it seems that there hasn't been enough resolution on this issue. Will he be dissatisfied because of this? What do you all think? Fourth, this is a recent matter. Reportedly, Bondi approached a California congressman named Hall, who is now running for governor of California as a Democrat. This is called the front runner in the election, right? So Bondi revealed to him the FBI files about his relationship with Fang Fang before they were officially released, because the two of them have a very good relationship. So this made Trump very dissatisfied. Of course, this is what the media reported. I can't personally verify it. But overall, if you ask me why Bondi was replaced, I think there are mainly two reasons. One is communication skills, and the other is execution ability. Communication skills are what I just mentioned. Whether it's in Congress or in handling the so-called Epstein files, it's about the ability to manage public relations. I don't think that's such a big issue. I think the bigger issue is execution ability. When it comes to getting things done and delivering results, I think, well, Trump actually tolerated it for about 15 months before finally making this decision. But the good news is they parted ways on good terms. So there's a saying here from Jonathan Turley. He's a law professor at George Washington, someone I respect a lot. There are two foreigners I really respect. One is Jonathan Turley. I always pay close attention to what he says. The other is Victor Hanson. He's from Stanford University. What was his name again? A classic historian. Both of these people, I recommend everyone get to know them. Jonathan Turley said, "You don't need to be so surprised. Working for Trump always comes with the risk of being removed," he said, starting from Jeff Sessions, the former Attorney General, Secretary of State Bill Barr, the former Attorney General, and Mark Esper, the former Secretary of Defense, Kristi Noem, and so on. He said that when Trump used to work in media, his show was called The Apprentice, right? The most iconic line in that show, the punchline was, "You are fired. You're not qualified." That's how it goes. So for Trump, firing people is a way to motivate other officials to perform better. This is his management style, the management style of Boss Trump. Now, the current issue is, who is the qualified successor? Who will he choose? Jonathan Turley mentioned three people. One is the current acting official who would be promoted, but he can't just be promoted directly. He must be approved by the Senate before he can take the position. So, if there are some Republicans in the Senate who don't agree, let's assume the Democrats definitely won't agree. If there are also some Republicans who don't agree, then he won't pass. That's the situation. So, when Trump first took office, he chose Matt Gaetz, right? Matt Gaetz is indeed a sharp weapon. However, he didn't pass the Senate confirmation. All right, so now it's about picking three people. So who are the candidates? Everyone can also give their opinions. The ones I just mentioned, from 1 to 4, let's do a poll, shall we? Let's see which one you all think is most likely. The first is the issue caused by the way the Epstein files were handled. The second is the result of his performance during the congressional testimony. The third is the lack of effort in investigating former officials for weaponizing the judiciary. The fourth is leaking, giving the swallow files. Out of 1, 2, 3, and 4, which do you all think is the most likely? Everyone can share their thoughts. Just type out 1, 2, 3, or 4, okay? All right, let's talk about the 3 candidates. Think about it, and we'll see if there really are 3 candidates. This is Professor Che Li. He shared this. The first is the acting Minister of Justice, Blanche. What kind of person is he? As you all know, he is a litigation lawyer, someone who prosecutes others, and he is also a former prosecutor. This person is neither flamboyant nor particularly good at socializing. However, he is a master at prosecution, able to dissect his opponents like a trout without batting an eye. He represents the prosecution side. During the entire 4 years when Trump was being pursued and attacked, he was always by Trump's side. He was essentially like a legal bodyguard for Trump. So when it comes to dealing with hostile media or opposition media, he is very firm, very low-key, not much of a talker, but extremely skilled at filing lawsuits. That's the situation. So one possibility is that even if he isn't used, you don't need to be a good speaker as long as you can get things done. As for another candidate, has anyone thought of this? It's the current head of the Environmental Protection Agency, Zeldin. This guy is quite young. He previously ran for governor of New York State. Later on, well, he wasn't directly a member of Congress. He ran for governor of New York. He did pretty well, you know. For a Republican to win the governorship of New York, that's almost impossible. Sigh, but although he did pretty well, he didn't actually win. Later, he was appointed by Trump as the head of the Environmental Protection Agency. He was quite popular in Congress, kind of like Rubio. Before becoming a national figure, he was very well liked in Congress and in the legislature. Both parties liked him. So, what are his characteristics? His strength is that he's very good at communication. Another advantage is that he completely transformed the EPA in a short period of time, including removing various obstacles to energy production. So, he's someone who really gets things done. He's not particularly sharp, but he's very capable at getting things done. That's the situation. So, will Trump use him? The third person is a former Fox News host and an American prosecutor named... He used to be a judge, and now... He was appointed by Trump as the federal prosecutor for Washington, D.C. He's known for his tough, iron-fisted style. Does anyone know who this is? A lot of our viewers, I think, watch a lot of TV, right? Many of you probably watch Fox News a lot, so many people should know him, right? Hey, if you know who it is, type it in the chat. Let me see how many people know. Judge Jeanine Pirro. Okay, of course, the other candidates also include attorneys general from various states, especially from red states, as well as some dark horse contenders. In short, Trump has a strong talent pool in this area. It's a lucrative position. There definitely won't be a shortage of people applying for this job, and Jonathan Turley was joking that there will be no lack of applicants for this position. But once you get the job, the power is significant. However, the only downside is that you might not be able to hold on to it for long. The pressure is enormous. If you don't do well, you'll have to leave. That's just how it is. All right, who do you think it will be? Let's do our own little poll, shall we? If you're familiar with American politics, the first is Blanche, the second is Zeldin, and the third is... Who's the fourth one? Should we invite everyone to share their opinions and see who gets it right? Okay, next, let's talk about the removal of the Army Chief of Staff. What does it mean that Hegseth was dismissed? That's the topic for the next segment. So, what's going on? Well, as of yesterday, Hegseth... Don't be fooled by how young he is. He's actually very bold in his actions. What kind of impression do you have of him? What do you think of Hegseth? You know, before this, in the army, he was doing what they call a junior officer's job. But this person, he joined the military for his ideals. He is an extremely outstanding young man. He can write books, and, well, he graduated from either Harvard or Yale, I forget which, but it was a prestigious university. He can write books, host media programs, and basically do everything. Such a person. Then when he was at Fox, hosting news programs, he often hosted Fox and Friends. He frequently interviewed Trump. After their conversations, he would tell him, "This military isn't working. The way things are going in the military just won't do." He would say what should be done instead. Trump was deeply impressed, and after he became president, he appointed him as Secretary of Defense. Do you remember how everyone was just stunned at the time? Haha, was it for real? He picked a junior officer to be the boss of 5-star generals. Trump's way of choosing people really is, well, truly unconventional. All right, anyway, this young Haig recently removed the U.S. Army Chief of Staff, General Randy George, from his position as 5-star general. The reason for this has not been made public. He may not have even given General George a reason when he spoke to him. He just said, it's time to change. Besides him, 2 other generals were also replaced. One is the Army's Chief of Training, also called the Chief of Training, General Horn Hodden, and the other is the Army's Chief Chaplain, named Green, Major General William Green. All 3 of them were replaced. Okay, the reason wasn't stated, but if we analyze it, what is it? It's simply a difference in philosophy. It's very clear that their philosophies don't align, because General George is an official from the previous administration. In August 2023, he was appointed as Army Chief of Staff by Biden. Normally, this position is held for 4 years, so if he were to retire, it would be in 2027. But as everyone knows, for military personnel, political factors aren't usually that significant. It's rare for a Democratic president to dismiss all the military officers appointed by Republicans, or for a Republican president to dismiss all those appointed by Democrats. However, as the political struggle between the two parties in the US intensifies, this factor, this phenomenon, is becoming more and more pronounced and more frequent. I've already told everyone how important the November 2024 election is. Whoever wins will definitely have to restore the overall situation to their side. So now, neither side is holding back. So when it came to Haig says he had some conflicts with George, the conflict was about the issue of officer promotions. When Haig says looked at the list, he said, this one, and this one won't do. They can't be promoted. If there are issues, take it back and handle it properly. The Minister of Defense has given instructions, so you should follow them, right? But he wouldn't listen. So, together with the Minister of the Army, Daniel, and this Driscoll, I'll talk more about Driscoll in a moment, they joined forces to resist. I'll explain this Driscoll matter in a bit. So, the Chief of Staff of the Army and the Minister of the Army joined forces to block Haig, often stopping him. Of course, being blocked like that made him unhappy, but he didn't show it at the time. Then, even during the Gulf War and the Iran War, even when the fighting was halfway through, Haig considered a replacement, but timing such a change is difficult. With Bashar's airborne division just arriving and the army only now joining the fight, the real battle was just beginning. So replacing people before joining the battle, that's the situation. There might be some reasoning behind it, because of course he would want to use people he can rely on. Now, even the current Secretary of the Army might be in trouble. The Secretary of the Army is named Driscoll. This Driscoll is actually one of Trump's people in 2025, not Biden's. He was appointed by Trump in February last year. He's a Yale alumnus of Vice President Vance and also a good friend of his. He's only 40 years old, part of the younger generation. Imagine being Secretary of the Army at 40. And then there's this guy named Hexis. I don't know exactly how old he is, maybe in his 40s, definitely over 40, but not yet 50. He's about the same age as the Secretary of Defense, but for some reason he and this General George share the same views, but he doesn't get along with the Secretary of Defense or War, Hexis. Although he has Vance backing him, the boss today is still Trump, isn't it? So now there are rumors going around that he might be on his way out too. There are also a lot of rumors and tabloid news saying that Hexis replaced 12 generals. That's not true. That's not what happened. When people talk about a dozen generals, it's not that Hexis replaced 12 generals in the past couple of days. It's just these 3. So when people talk about a dozen generals, what does that refer to? Since Trump took office, along the way, as soon as Trump came to power, he dismissed the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Brown. Later on, he also replaced the Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Franchetti. Then he also replaced the Air Force's number 2, General Slife. So in total, over the course of about 14 or 15 months, more than a dozen generals were replaced. This time, it's 3. Let me take this opportunity to elaborate a bit. What exactly is the position of Army Chief of Staff? The structure of the U.S. military is quite interesting. It's very different from many places in many other countries. The Army Chief of Staff, known as the Chief of Staff of the Army, is the highest-ranking officer in the Army. Now you might ask, if he's the highest-ranking officer, why isn't he called the Army Commander-in-Chief? That's because there is no Army Commander-in-Chief in the United States. There's no Commander-in-Chief of the Army, no Commander-in-Chief of the Air Force, and no Commander-in-Chief of the Navy. They simply don't exist. Why is that? It's because of civilian control of the military. If there were a Commander-in-Chief, it would be easy for them to amass power and become a threat. So, the U.S. military has 2 main characteristics. One is that civilians serve as commanders. Having military officers serve as chiefs of staff is one characteristic. So as I mentioned earlier, that person Disco was the Secretary of the Army for Operations, which is essentially equivalent to being the Army commander, but he was a civilian. He was a civilian. Even though he had previously served in the military, he had to retire first. A civilian is an ordinary person, a non-military individual. Only non-military officers, that is, civilians, can serve as the Army commander, or more precisely, the Secretary of the Army for Operations, or as the Deputy Commander. So civilians serve as the top leaders, while military officers serve as chiefs of staff. This is a characteristic of the U.S. military. The second characteristic is, what does the chief of staff do? Take this chief of staff who was dismissed, General George. What was his role? The chief of staff is only responsible for training and providing advice. He is in charge of building the army, but he does not command operations. Civilians not only serve as commanders, but they also direct military operations, while the chief of staff handles training and gives advice. Is that the relationship?